All right. Welcome everyone to day one of our conference, North American Virtual Reference Online Conference. This conference is 3 half days of sessions on topics related to virtual reference and online library services for all types of libraries. Our presenters join us from all across the United States and Canada and share their expertise and working knowledge of library services, programs, and tools. NAVROC has been hosted every other year since 2019, and we are excited to kick off another great series. The planning committee for this year's conference are Caitlin Kenny with Western New York Library Resources Council in Amherst, New York, Kelly Doty with Tampa Bay Library Consortium in Tampa, Florida, Ginsley Mundisur with Scholars Portal at University of Toronto, Ontario, Sarah Pitte with Washington State Library in Tumwater, Washington, Missy Williams with Delaware Division of Libraries offices in Dover, Delaware, Kristen Polly with British Columbia Electronic Library Network in Burnaby, British Columbia, and myself, Carla Fall, with Minitex and the University of Minnesota in Minneapolis, Minnesota. To get things started, I'll hand things over to Missy Williams, our moderator for today's keynote session.
Thank you, Carla. Good morning again, everyone. Thank you for joining us for the 2025 North American Virtual Reference Conference. We're so happy you've taken the time to join us. I'm Missy Williams. As Carla mentioned, I'm the statewide coordinator for Ask a Librarian Delaware. And as she mentioned, I'll be the moderator for this keynote session. The session is the next generation of libraries looking ahead to Library 2035. And as Carla mentioned, your video and audio have been turned off for this session. And if you have any questions, please use the Q&A section. And we're going to have some time at the end of the presentation for questions. And hopefully the chat feature has been disabled and you can type in some notes there where you're joining us from. If not, then please put things in the Q&A and I'll be monitoring that. These sessions are recorded and they'll be on our NAVROC website next week sometime. And now I'm just going to go ahead and go forward and introduce our keynote speaker, Dr. Sandra Hirsch. She is the Associate Dean of Academics at the College of Information, Data and Society at San Jose State University. And we really appreciate her taking the time out of her busy schedules because she's phenomenal and has done so many things. She co-founded and co-chairs the Global Virtual Library 2.0 conference series, and the next one is scheduled March 13th and is very relevant. I'll put a link to that in the chat. And go ahead, take it away. Thank you.
Sandy, you're on mute.
There we go. I was just trying to get my slides up. Hi, everyone. It's so great to see you all. Thank you so much for inviting me to speak at your session today at your conference. I'm really looking forward to our discussion around the future of libraries. And today I'll be drawing on some of my takeaways and observations from my new book, Library 2035, Imagining the Next Generation of Libraries. As I said today, I'm going to focus on highlighting some of the factors, some of positive, some are negative, that will give us a sense about what the impact will be on libraries. And I'll try to pull out a little bit of a particular focus on reference services. So I'm going to go ahead and get started, and there should be time for Q&A as well. So I look forward to that, either through chat or through other means. So a little bit about the book. Library 2035 actually builds upon the foundation of an earlier publication that also examined the future of libraries. And that one was called Library 2020, Today's Leading Visionaries Describe Tomorrow's Library. That was written by Joe Janes in 2013. But as we know, since the release of Library 2020, 2020, the world has changed significantly. And I believe it's essential that we need to revisit the discussion about what the future of libraries is, and that we take the time to reflect on some of the insights that we've gained over the past decade and reassess our expectations for what libraries might look like in 2035. So in this new volume, 29 prominent thought leaders in the field of library and information science contributed their insights, and they provided a really diverse array of perspectives across the 25 chapters that are in the book. And in addition to the book, I've also conducted 23 webcast interviews with the authors that I think were really helped to provide deeper insights into some of the themes that they discussed in their chapters, and also their vision for the library of the future. And I have a QR code later on, so in case you're interested in those. So as we look to the future, I think it's first important for us to reflect on some of the lessons that we've learned from the past decade. And two overarching themes arise when we reflect on the past decade. I would characterize those as adaptability and community alignment. Over the past decade, there's been numerous challenges that have required libraries to be very flexible and resilient. And two obvious and great examples of that are the worldwide pandemic and the rapid advances in artificial intelligence. One of the lessons that we've learned is the importance of being adaptable and preparing for the unexpected. We need to develop robust contingency plans and foster that culture of continuous learning and innovation, and in order to ensure that we're prepared for these unexpected events. And another lesson that we've learned is that libraries must align their services to the community's changing needs. And by doing this, libraries will continue to play very critical roles in their communities, serving as information hubs and providing support during crises. So, in reflecting on the past and envisioning what you think the future of libraries is, I'd love for you, if you have opportunity to put in chat. Oh, it says chat's on now. Perfect timing. I'd love to take a moment and ask you to reflect on how you would complete the following sentence. The library in 2035 will be, must be, must not be, will not be, can't be. How would you complete that sentence? If you could just put in the chat how you might think about responding to this kind of a prompt, that would be great. Excellent. Thank you, Jenna, for adding something already. That's perfect. Let's see. I see. So safe learning, uh, safe learning spaces, can't be entirely digital, must be engaging, community-centric, adaptable, innovative, accessible, that will be underfunded, will be central to combating misinformation, cannot solely be a physical place, must keep up with innovations, must serve all users, should not be all virtual, must be responsive. These are great. Thank you so much. Must be nimble, cannot be everything to everyone. Excellent. These are really fantastic. And I hope we can save the chat, because I'd love to delve into these more. Thank you. Keep putting these in. That's excellent. So thank you. Um, I ask you this question because this was the challenge that I gave to the contributors to this book. This was the prompt that they received and in responding to my invitation. And I know it's not easy task for anyone to be envisioning or speculating about the future, but I thought that the contributors to Library 2035, Imagining the Next Generation of Libraries, really did a great job of bringing their unique perspectives to inspire, provoke, challenge, and expand our thinking about what the role and importance of the libraries in the future will be. So throughout this presentation, we're going to explore some of their responses. I'll summarize some of the key takeaways and some of the key themes. So Library 2035 offered 25 chapters that I broke up into 6 different parts. As you can see here: landscape, community, equity and inclusion, organizations, library workers, and vision. And as I said, I'll go through and I'm going to very briefly highlight some of the key takeaways from the book, and then I'm going to connect it a little bit more to reference services after that. So part 1, landscape, explored the technological, environmental, economic, and political factors that will shape the library of 2035. And so like innovations, as we already are seeing, such as artificial intelligence, chatbots, virtual reality, artificial intelligence, augmented reality, these will be continue to redefine how libraries manage and disseminate information, and will also enhance and change learning experiences for people as well. And also, libraries need to adopt green technologies and sustainable practices, and also reinforce their role as community anchors and safe havens. Additionally, as job security and living costs continue to fluctuate, libraries will need to adapt their services to meet the evolving needs of their communities, fostering resilience in face of political instability and declining public trust. Additionally, libraries will need to adopt proactive strategies to safeguard intellectual freedom and ensure that all patrons can access information securely and privacy. And additionally, libraries must effectively communicate their value through compelling narratives. Part 2 of the book focused on community, and I noticed a number of you talked about the important role that libraries play in their communities in the chat when you were typing things in. And this section, really that I would say is a key theme throughout the entire book, but this particular part specifically delved into community aspects. And this section highlights the critical role of libraries in fostering community engagement and emphasizes the transformative power of co-creation with community members. The authors of part 2 discuss how the libraries in the future will serve as central hubs for social connection and civic engagement. And the vision for Library of 2035 emphasizes the importance of actively involving community members in the development of those library programs and services. So as we move toward Library 30 and 2035, that emphasis on community engagement and co-creation will empower users to become dynamic centers of connection, fostering social cohesion and enriching the lives of their patrons. Part 3, equity and inclusion. In this part, the focus is on how libraries lead the charge, creating inclusive, accessible spaces while also advancing social justice and issues. And these contributing authors outline some crucial strategies to make libraries welcoming for all, with an emphasis on cultural competence and community-centered services. So as we move toward the future, libraries must actively remove barriers to access, particularly for marginalized communities, and need to adapt to these changes and shifts by embracing technology and developing policies that prioritize equity and inclusion. And they need to advocate for social change and amplify underrepresented voices, and additionally collaborate with their community to ensure that equity is embedded in their practices. So the key themes from part 4, organizations. This section focused on the evolving roles of public, academic, school, and community college libraries. And one of the consistent themes across this section was across all types of libraries was their commitment in fostering community. And they discussed how the Library of the Future will continue to provide spaces that are inclusive and welcoming and adaptive to changing societal demands, as well as how they'll adapt and change and expand services by partnering with others across campuses or in the community. specifically collaborating and partnering with community leaders and policymakers to provide diverse collections and services. And these collaborations will be key to expanding services, enriching programs, and meeting the broader needs of the communities that they serve, because it's going to be really challenging to go at it all by ourselves. We need to be working together to ensure that we can meet the needs of our communities. And as libraries integrate artificial intelligence into these services, these collaborative efforts will be essential to ensure that technological innovations enhance rather than compromise the inclusivity and community focus of library services. Part 5, library workers emphasize the critical role that staff play in the success of libraries and how investing in their growth is essential to the future of the profession. And 2 key themes emerge from this section, particularly the importance of professional development and wellness, as well as the role of advocacy and leadership. But in essence, by investing in library staff development, professional development, and equipping them to lead and advocate, libraries will be well positioned to meet the demands of an increasingly complex world. And then the 6th part was focused on vision. And that part delved into the future of libraries, specifically imagining what the Library 2035 might look like. And the central theme in this section was the use of strategic foresight and planning to help anticipate future challenges and opportunities, and really focused on how libraries must stay ahead of emerging trends and technology, evolving information needs, and also the societal shifts, in order to design future-ready services and spaces that are adaptable to the changing environment. And another key theme that emerged from this section is the necessity for resilience and adaptability, and how the library of the future will need to be flexible and able to respond quickly to challenges in technology and societal needs. So I'd like to elaborate on these themes and connect them a little bit more directly to reference services. And so I'm going to summarize some of the themes that we're going to explore in more depth, and more connected to reference services. So libraries will continue their longstanding focus on community and deepen their community engagement. And they will continue to be these vital gathering spaces, hosting diverse events, and fostering connections and strengthening community bonds. Libraries in the future will also collaborate and partner with other institutions and organizations to enhance their services and address community challenges more effectively. And libraries will focus on being inclusive and equitable by prioritizing accessibility for all and actively working to remove barriers to service. This includes addressing physical and digital accessibility and promoting social justice through resources and programs that reflect diverse perspectives. Also, technology, as we know, will continue to evolve and will have direct impact on the work that we do in libraries. For example, with the rise in generative AI, libraries will leverage this technology to enhance service delivery and offer digital collections, virtual programs, and online resources for easy access. Privacy and security of user data will become more important than ever. Libraries will need to prioritize the protection of user data and privacy and engage in efforts to ensure that users feel safe when accessing digital resources. And then libraries will also need to advocate for their value to help with funding and community support. And I saw some comments about how, in the chat, about how libraries will be underfunded. So we need to really get good at this advocacy. They will also need to prepare for future challenges and opportunities by engaging in futures thinking and strategic planning. So, like, how do these themes then apply to the future of reference services? So I'm going to take some time now to touch on each of those key themes and on how it could impact or influence reference service in general over the next decade. Connecting the key themes of Library 2035 can help us identify opportunities for shaping and enhancing the delivery of information and support to patrons, as well as address critical issues such as access, privacy, and ethical considerations. So first, focusing on community engagement, the collective vision for Library 2035 places a strong emphasis on community and engagement. And central to this vision is the belief that libraries can enhance their services by actively involving community members in shaping programs and services that they offer. By engaging patrons in the decision-making process, libraries can ensure that their offerings genuinely reflect the desires and needs of their communities that they are serving. And this participatory approach does more than just improve relevance, it fosters that sense of trust and ownership among community members as well. One of the most significant areas where this vision can be realized, I think, is in the area of reference services. While traditionally focused on providing information, these services will become even more interactive and responsive by organizing community-driven information sessions, workshops, and programs. And I think that this shift ensures that libraries aren't just places where information is exchanged, but are spaces where connections are made and conversations are fostered and are bringing together people around shared interests and needs. And I think that through this approach, libraries of the future will not only remain relevant, but will also strengthen their role as central hubs of community life. I have a couple of examples I was going to share of community-centric programs and reference services. The first one is the one that the Brooklyn Public Library does, the Brooklyn Incubator Program, which is set up to encourage librarians and library and community members to collaboratively design programs that meet local needs. And by involving the community in the brainstorming and development phases, the library has created tailored programs that reflect the diverse cultures, interests, and needs of its patrons. And this initiative demonstrates how libraries can actively engage the public in creating relevant and meaningful services. The second example I wanted to provide is from the San Francisco Public Library and their Bridge at Main program. This program focuses on providing services for the city's homeless. And by working closely with social service agencies and patrons from underserved communities, the library has shaped services that go beyond just providing information by providing job readiness workshops, healthcare access sessions, and more. And this shows how libraries can engage with community groups to create programs that directly address local issues. And as libraries look toward the future, collaboration and partnerships will play an increasingly significant role in expanding the reach and effectiveness of library services. By partnering with schools, local governments, nonprofit organizations, libraries can offer specialized services tailored to the unique needs of their communities. These partnerships allow libraries to broaden their impact, making their services not only more accessible, but also more relevant to the people that they serve. So looking ahead to libraries in 2035, we should seek even stronger partnerships between libraries, vendors, academic institutions, and community organizations. I think that these collaborations will ensure that libraries provide the most relevant content while aligning with the broader missions of their partner institutions. I think that the result will be enhanced services that not only meet the evolving needs of patrons, but also demonstrate the significant value and return on investment that libraries provide to their communities and stakeholders. And Kelvin Watson in chapter 15, the future of libraries, adapting our mission and our buildings to demographic growth and change, he reinforces this idea by stating the importance of expanding and exploring new partnerships cannot be overstated. Beyond the traditional community groups, we must think outside the norms to deliver our services in new ways while developing advocates who know our value firsthand. I think his statement highlights the necessity of moving beyond conventional collaborations to engage with new and unexpected partners who can help libraries innovate, extend their reach, and also build broader advocacy networks. I'd like to provide a couple examples as well about how partnerships can extend library programming. One of them is the South Dakota State Library has developed a civic and ethical literacy course in collaboration with educational institutions. And this course helps educators teach about civic engagement and ethical responsibilities. This partnership equips educators with resources to better inform students on topics like rights, responsibilities, and global citizenship. And it demonstrates how libraries can support educational goals through collaboration. Another example I wanted to provide is that of the Toronto Public Library, which has partnered with local health providers to offer programs that provide accessible health information and mental health resources to the community. And for example, they've organized mental health workshops, senior health programs, and nutrition sessions in collaboration with experts from hospitals and health organizations. And this partnership makes health resources more accessible and also ensures that the information that they're getting is reliable and is tailored to their community's needs. And thirdly, I've wanted to provide the example from Kansas City Public Library, which has been actively involved in numerous collaborations to address digital literacy. One of their significant initiatives is the Digital Corps program that was launched in 2022 in collaboration with AmeriCorps. And Digital Corps places AmeriCorps service members in the library branches to provide one-on-one digital literacy training, helping patrons with basic computer skills to master, helping them to do those and also to master more advanced tasks such as building resumes. This program has had a substantial impact with over 3,000 learning interactions in its first year. The next key theme that we'll see in the future is a strong commitment to inclusivity and equity. Libraries do need to ensure that every patron, regardless of their background, has equitable access to information and resources that they need. For example, libraries can enhance their reference services by providing lingual support and offering staff training in cultural competence. These trainings can help librarians interact more effectively with patrons from diverse cultural backgrounds. And another critical aspect of inclusivity is outreach. Libraries need to take an active role in engaging underserved populations to ensure that these groups receive equitable access to information. And this could mean providing mobile or remote services to patrons who can't visit the library in person, or implementing programs designed to meet the unique needs of marginalized communities. Libraries will also need to ensure that digital resources are accessible remotely and that all services remain either free or affordable. It's also no surprise that the integration of technology will be especially critical for the future of library services. By embracing digital platforms, libraries can offer virtual reference assistance, online chat services, and access to vast digital collections. And this will allow patrons to access information from anywhere, anytime. And this convenience is just the beginning. Artificial intelligence tools like ChatGPT are enhancing the ways that libraries are providing information retrieval services. These technologies enable patrons to quickly and efficiently find the resources that they need. I don't know if you saw, but the IFLA published in fall 2024 and trends report. And this report also indicates that AI will revolutionize how libraries manage and provide access to information. Advanced tools like natural language processing are making information retrieval more intuitive and user-friendly and are transforming the ways that patrons interact with the information resources. In addition to being aware of how to use this technology for searching, Ghosh and McCoy, in a paper discussing how AI will be incorporated into MLIS competencies, indicated that librarians will also need to know how to develop chatbots and virtual assistants that can handle complex queries. They'll need to know how to provide recommendations and assist in navigation through large databases or digital collections. So understanding how AI works will be a fundamental skill for librarians. While the focus is often on the technology itself, it's also essential to note that AI shouldn't be a replacement for the expertise that librarians bring to reference services. Instead, I see AI as augmenting the reference librarian's ability to meet user needs efficiently while ensuring that the services provided remain ethical and human-centered. Virtual reality and augmented reality are also reshaping the library experience, particularly in how patrons engage with information. Imagine exploring historical archives through a VR simulation where history comes to life in an immersive and interactive way. These technologies not only make learning more engaging, but also offer new dimensions of understanding. I did want to provide also a couple of examples where technology, specific AI and virtual reality are extending reference services and creating new opportunities for librarians to meet the needs of their users. The University of Oklahoma, for example, has adopted an AI tool, Busy, to assist with reference services. And Busy is able to handle the basic information retrieval tasks while allowing librarians to focus on more complex inquiries. San Diego Public Library has developed virtual reality programs to engage teens and young adults in learning about science and history in a more interactive way. And this offering everything from virtual museum tours to space exploration simulations. And I also wanted to mention, this is very new at San Jose State University, my home institution. The library has recently created one of the first AI librarian positions in the United States. And the role of this person is to integrate and develop AI technology for the university's academic library, which includes managing digital assets, developing technology resources, and promoting services related to AI at the university's library. I think it's really exciting to see the new roles that are starting to emerge for librarians and the new ways that librarians are utilizing technologies to meet user needs. As AI's influence grows, so do concerns around information access, privacy, and ethics. Libraries will need to ensure that while they remain at the forefront of technological change, they also continue to uphold core values of equitable information access, security, and privacy. Libraries will need to continue their diligence in upholding their core principles of intellectual freedom and equitable access, providing access to these technologies while guiding users on how to do so safely, and also incorporating strategies to ensure patrons can access information securely and privately while engaging and using these technologies. This quote from Aaron Berman, author of Chapter 4, Teetering on the Edge of Trust Cliff, highlights how the role that libraries will have in protecting the library landscape. And she says, now is the time to fight for updated privacy laws. Now is the time to push back on vendor products that violate privacy. Now is the time to stand up for our users from less privileged situations who desperately need libraries to be a privacy safe haven. Another key trend identified by the authors of Library 2035 is the significance of advocacy and futures thinking. Advocacy will be more critical than ever. As we've already talked about, it's going to be something we need to get good at. Library workers need to establish strong relationships with decision makers and consistently share stories that reflect the impact that libraries are having, whether that's conveyed through compelling data or through personal patron experiences. We need to tell our stories and advocate for our value. And it's essential that reference and library services also demonstrate their impact on the communities they serve. This can be achieved by collecting and analyzing data on reference service usage, patron satisfaction, and also the outcomes of reference interactions. Another critical approach is engaging in futures thinking, and this involves anticipating emerging information needs and trends so that libraries can proactively adapt their offerings. Strategic foresight helps reference and library services stay relevant in a rapidly evolving information landscape. And by anticipating challenges and opportunities, libraries can then design services and spaces that are more future ready. So the vision for the library in 2035 emphasizes the importance of strategic foresight, planning, and resilience. Libraries will need to remain flexible and adaptable and evolving with the changes in technology and user needs. And future-ready libraries will be indispensable as they continuously update their services and resources to reflect advancements in society and the digital world. Beyond these examples that were provided for the key themes from Library 2035, the contributing authors also address other critical issues that can have implications for reference services over the next decade. So I'm going to go through a couple of those. Libraries have always played an essential role in education, and this will only grow in importance as our information landscape evolves. Information literacy courses have long been part of libraries' offerings, but with the rise of AI and other technologies, there's demand for new ways of teaching these skills. Trust will also be more important than ever between library staff and users as we help them navigate issues like misinformation and privacy risks. In fact, also in that 2024 IFLA Trends report, they emphasized how trust is being renegotiated at several levels, and how this renegotiation will be an important consideration for libraries in the future. As librarians, we need to teach more than just how to find information. We need to teach how to critically evaluate it. And with the integration of AI into almost everything that we're doing, this ability to critically evaluate information is becoming more and more challenging. And at the same time, it's becoming more and more important. By 2035, we will also see significant shifts in how we interact with that information, texts, images, audio, and data. And Jason Griffey, one of the contributors to Library 2035, he talked about the changes, and talked about the changes in information creation, discovery, and evaluation by the year 2035 will be almost recognizable to us today. Libraries need to continuously adapt to these changes to meet their community needs. Yet, despite the evolving technology, several of the Library 2035 and LIS experts stress the importance of libraries to, as I said, continuously uphold their core values of access, privacy, and ethics. These foundational principles will guide us as we embrace new tools and ways of working. One of the significant concerns with AI is the potential for perpetuating bias found in the data used to train these systems. This can lead to discriminatory outcomes, particularly for marginalized communities. Libraries are addressing these challenges by curating and data sets and advocating for more diverse representation in AI models. We're also developing policies to protect vulnerable populations from data misuse and enhancing, engaging in community discussions about the ethical use of technology in library services. In this new environment, AI, misinformation, and predictive modeling, libraries continue to be trusted guides. As Lynn Conaway in Chapter 9, We Are Not Alone, Libraries Making a Stronger Impact in a Global Community points out, people still need experts who can make sense of the overwhelming amount of data and information. She said, this world still needs people to make sense of data, to tell the story. This is the perfect opportunity for library staff to be the experts in a global information society. Libraries with their neutral and welcoming environments can provide this expertise. Librarians are well positioned to help users navigate the complexities of the digital age, whether through direct library services or instruction in digital literacy and information ethics. The future will also see an increased focus on data and analysis to determine the value and relevancy of services that we offer and how we operate. By 2035, we will likely see an increase in data-driven initiatives such as digital literacy programs, information security measures, and even immersive experiences using virtual or augmented reality. These initiatives will be integrated into the library outreach and the services we offer our communities. Oops. Consequently, libraries will also need to help the communities they serve be able to analyze and evaluate emerging technologies and the validity and accuracy of the information they engage with. Anthony Chow in Chapter 7, The Future of Libraries, a user and community-centered perspective, discussed how libraries will be key in helping users become more discerning and information literate, especially in an AI-driven world. He said, libraries will also help their users be more discerning and information literate through increased digital and information literacy support. Another key area to consider as we look to the future of libraries is the importance of proactively supporting the wellness of our library workers and investing in their professional development. We are library workers are the backbone of what we do, and so we really need to make sure that we pay attention to this to them. And I think that investing in wellness and professional development of library workers is critical because not only does it improve individual performance, but it also ensures the sustainability of the institution itself. And it will also equip library workers with the support they need to adapt to the changes that are continually occurring in libraries and ensure that they have the skills they need to prepare for the new complexities in the library field. In Chapter 20, Wellness for Librarians, Innovative Solutions to Foster Transformation, Loida Garcia-Fibo discusses how we will need to collaborate across libraries, library associations, and library and information science programs to foster the wellness of library workers and to provide professional development opportunities. Inclusive programming and policy transformation are also needed. Unified efforts can ensure that library workers, key to their community's well-being, are supported in their own mental and physical health. As Loida Garcia-Fibo noted in her webcast interview, I will stress the importance of advocating for ourselves and also for our staff to support working environments that we deserve, that everybody deserves. Read, connect with others, and help and keep yourself to be a self-advocate or join forces with others because there is strength in numbers. Oops. So as we look forward to what the next decade holds for reference and library services in libraries, we can consider the key takeaways offered in Library 2035, Imagining the Next Generation. So first, reference services in libraries will become deeply integrated into their communities, emphasizing participatory approaches where community members help shape programs and services. This will foster trust and ownership, with interactive reference services evolving into community-driven workshops and information sessions tailored to local needs. Collaboration with schools, governments, and nonprofits will expand libraries' impact, offering tailored literacy programs and targeted public health resources. Inclusivity will be a central focus, with libraries offering multilingual support, cultural competence training, and outreach to underserved populations, and ensuring equitable access to both physical and digital resources. And libraries will need to continuously prioritize and revisit their strategies for how to safely provide broad access to digital materials, while at the same time ensuring that they are protecting user data and user privacy. Along these lines, guiding patrons on how to effectively use information and protect their information security will be key priorities well into the future. And the integration of technology will play a pivotal role, with libraries utilizing tools like AI, like ChatGPT, to enhance information retrieval, and VR and AR to create immersive learning experiences. Strategic foresight will guide libraries in adapting to emerging trends and technologies, creating future-ready services and spaces. And finally, advocacy will be crucial, with libraries using data and success stories to demonstrate their ongoing value to decision makers and to tell their story, ensuring continued support and funding in a rapidly evolving digital environment. So here's another opportunity for you to type it into the chat. And so we're near the end of the presentation, and I'd love for you to reflect on the themes that I've been sharing and some of the visions that the contributors have discussed about the future of libraries. And I'd like for you to consider this new challenge. And that is one that I presented to those contributors who engaged with me in my webcast interviews after they wrote their book chapters. And I asked them to describe the future of libraries in 6 words or less. So I'd love for you to share your thoughts, again, 6 words or less, what your vision for the future of libraries will be. Thank you for getting us started. Open to change and forward thinking, cutting edge tech leadership, always changing. Let's see. Google AI principles say nothing about, okay. Our existence is tenuous, I'm afraid. Reliable, ethical information support. Libraries are the future of information. Collaborative. These are great, innovative, agile, user-focused, democratic, equitable community centers. Information for all. Last remaining democratic, accessible space. Weathering challenges, both old and new. Aware, proactive, less vulnerable. These are excellent. You guys are amazing. Equity from building to services. Community support systems. These are great. Thank you. Keep them coming. Standing taller and stronger. I love that. These are excellent. So as I said, keep them coming. I look forward to looking at them later as well. Thank you so much for sharing your thoughts. As I said, during the webcast interviews, I did challenge each one of the contributors to share their thoughts about in 6 words or less. And I've just pulled out 8 of them as examples. And I think yours are right in line with the kinds of things that our contributors said as well. Um, and I'd love during the Q&A session to hear how some of these statements also resonated with you and your own vision about the future of libraries. But just to kind of go through these, Patty Wong said, community engaged advocate, no wrong door. David Linke said, community-centered facilitation for good. And Jason Griffey said, fundamental for a healthy, functional society. Lynn Conaway said, relationship building, collaboration, community focused, adaptability. Aaron Berman said, engaged, community responsive centers of democracy. Joel Nichols said, change always comes, prepare, not repair. And Kelvin Watson said, powerful partners, powerful places, powerful people. And Rebecca Smith Aldrich said, the future is unwritten for libraries. And finally, I'd like to share, I'd like to conclude today's presentation with some of my own thoughts about the future of libraries, just like I had the concluding chapter in the book. And so drawing from my chapter, on chapter 25, The Way Forward for Libraries, I wrote, the library of 2035 will surely face its storms, threats, and crises. However, libraries and librarians who commit to innovation, stay ahead of emerging technologies, and strongly advocate their value will stand strong and tall with roots well grounded as an essential community resource for learning, communicating, playing, and working. I feel like this statement captures the essence of what will define the success of libraries in the years ahead. A commitment to adaptability, a willingness to embrace innovation, and a shared responsibility to champion the indispensable role of libraries in society. I also tried to capture my thinking in my own 6-word statement about the future of libraries, which mine was, libraries are essential for thriving communities. In addition to my book, as I mentioned, I did conduct these webcast interviews with almost all of the book contributors. And these webcast interviews are open access and are free and can be viewed by anyone. So you can find these on the book's website or on a YouTube playlist by searching for the San Jose State School of Information, or you can scan the QR code now and that will take you to it. I also wanted to mention, if you were interested in getting the book, you can find it on the publisher site. And if you use the discount code, you get a 30% discount, or you could order it through Amazon, but there's not a discount code for that. I also wanted to mention, I know Missy mentioned at the beginning about the Library 2.0 virtual conference series that I co-founded. She mentioned about the upcoming one on March 13th that's focused on AI in libraries, literacy, ethics, and responsible use. That'll be held from 12 to 3 p.m. Pacific time on March 13th. But we did hold one of these free virtual conferences focused on the future of libraries and focused on the book Library 2035, Imagining the Next Generation of Libraries in October of 2024. And those recordings from that free virtual conference are available on the conference site and also through a YouTube playlist. I included QR code here just to make it easier for you to find if you're interested. But I did want to mention a couple of the sessions in particular that you might find interesting and might be interested in watching. Specifically, the opening keynote that I moderated was a really great interactive session with 4 of the book contributors, where we engaged in conversation with Jason Griffey, Peter Hepburn, Joyce Valenza, and Kelvin Watson. And then I also moderated a closing keynote panel that was focused on library jobs of the future. And we had more of the book contributors, Stacy Aldrich and Jared Keller, share their thoughts about that. But all the sessions were great in the conference. So I just wanted to mention those 2 in particular. And then finally, I did also want to mention a new opportunity that we're working on to build to provide means to build your future ready skills and to be part of this kind of 2035 movement of looking ahead. So for those of you who aren't familiar, SkillType is a new talent management platform for the library profession that was founded by one of our Library 2035 contributors, Tony Zanders, and it provides a collection of training materials to library professionals to enable continued learning in a wide range of skill areas. And in October, just this last fall, SkillType announced its offering for individual subscribers. And they provided us with a 20% discount to our community if you're interested in signing up. And I included a QR code here. And we're going to be using that space more to organize some of the content related to Library 2035 and also to hopefully connect and build a community of members who are interested and concerned about the future of libraries. So with that, I'd like to wrap up my presentation and just say that I have really enjoyed having the opportunity to talk with you today. And I look forward to your questions and further discussion. And I'll end my my comments by quoting the title of David Lenke's book chapter, which is "There is no future of libraries. There are many." And I truly believe that there are many possibilities for libraries in the future, but I'd love to hear your thoughts and what your visions are for the future of libraries and what it looks like to you. And thank you so much for engaging in the chat conversation as well and sharing your ideas and thoughts. I can't wait to take a closer look at some of the things that you had to say. They looked really exciting and interesting. And so with that, I'd like to welcome any questions and turn it back over to Missy.
Thank you, Dr. Hirsch. Yeah, the chat room was going crazy there. So we'll get you a copy of that so you can look at it too, delve into it. So there's one question. Most of these chapters were probably written before November 2024. Have the authors and yourself thought about how the next 4 years might affect these ideas?
So so you said most of the chapters have been written before 2024, and then what was the question?
Have the authors or yourself thought about how the next 4 years might affect the ideas?
Yes. So yes. So I get the significance of your question. Um, you're correct. All of the the book was published in March of 2024. So certainly before we knew, where things were going with our elections and the like. And so yes, this is definitely we're in a different era, and we haven't. It's come up some. Like I've done some panel discussions, and when I've done that, I've often brought in different mixes of the contributors, and sometimes we do get questions like that. What I'm thinking about for the future, as we start to figure out how to navigate and adjust to these changing political and societal changes, that I'm hoping to foster spaces for us to have ongoing engagement and conversation in about these, um, to share ideas and to engage in follow-up conversations, even potentially with some of my contributors. They don't know that, but I'm thinking along those lines, and maybe inviting other voices to the conversation as well, because I think that we really need to be giving ourselves some space to figure out what are some of the best ways to navigate and what are the best strategies and how can we work together on those. So that's a great question, and I think that let's brainstorm some ways that we can work together and share those best practices or those ideas and how we can coalesce.
Right. Yeah. And there was a comment in the chat about, so it is a great idea or a good idea to look ahead 10 years. We need to be discussing how we can survive the next 4 years. So that is definitely
Yeah.
on everyone's mind right now. So thank you so very much for this presentation, and your book. It just gives me hope, and I think we are in a position to get through this together. We've done it before in the past. Libraries have survived so many different crises over the decades.
We
So
really have. I mean, I think that, that message of resilience, we will get through it. I feel confident. We have gotten through lots of things, and there's been many times that people have, said, "Oh, this is going to be the end of libraries." Uh, when we moved into digital
digital.
services and virtual books, and when the internet was came around, when Google search, it was, and all the searching that was going to do away with libraries, and uh, you know uh, so there's just been constant, we've called for, people have said, "Oh, this is going to be the end of libraries," but the reality is that we've adjusted, and we've changed, and we continue to see that, and that's important. And with AI, I feel the same thing, and with these political situations, I also feel the same thing. There are people need libraries, and what that library will mean and how it'll look will continue to evolve, just like we always have. And we're starting already to see new roles for library workers, and I think this is exciting. So we just need to adjust, and it's not going to be easy. Some parts of it will definitely not be easy. I don't want to minimize that, but I do have confidence and faith in the resilience and the meaning, the importance of libraries.
Right. Yeah, I know we're right at our time, but if there is a couple more questions, I don't know if we want to save them and have them sent out later. But Sarah's asking, do you think the advancement of AI can accelerate the death of original thought in research? And how do we as librarians balance our moral values with AI? This might be good to
Yeah.
plug the next the conference coming up next month.
Exactly. I definitely think it would be good for you to attend that March 13th conference if you're able to. That Library 2.0 conference. It's free, as I mentioned, and it's online, so you can. That is really the focus of that particular conference, is to address some of the things that you're talking about, some of those ethical concerns and dilemmas, and how do we navigate that and balance that. I think that's something that we definitely need to be exploring, which is why I chose that theme for that
Right,
conference. So recognizing that. So I hope you'll be able to participate. And even if you can't, all the sessions are recorded and will be made freely available afterwards.
right. And then very last, let's squeeze this in. What technology could emerge in the next 10 years that could disrupt libraries again? I think we're seeing it already.
I think we are, and I don't think I mean, I think, AI is here to stay. It's going to keep disrupting, and I think that it'll also open up different kinds of opportunities, as I've said. I think that we're seeing. Well, it'll be interesting to see what happens with some of the robot technology that is being developed, and how that's going to be utilized, and whether that will take on and become more widespread in terms of its role in libraries, so I think that'll be interesting to watch. And also, I think that the VR AR stuff is, the technology is still feels emergent to me in terms of all of its applications, and it'll be interesting to see how much, if it will really become ubiquitous in terms of its application and use. But I see it has potential, but it's unclear, how deep it will go. So I think that let's watch and see. And then I think this is where all of that strategic foresight is important. We need to be monitoring the trends and watching, to see what is coming up. And I think not be afraid to try things out in our libraries, to experiment with some of these things, to see how they might impact or be beneficial to us, and allow us to engage with our communities in different ways.
Right.
Yes, I see quantum computing. Yes,
Mhm.
there's so many things. I mean, let's watch all of those spaces, and make sure that we aren't being reactive, but being proactive in experimenting with them and testing the waters in terms of how we can use them to our advantage.
Right. Exactly. Well, thank you again. Thank you so much for being our keynote speaker. And we thank everyone for joining us today and hope you will join us for the other sessions over the course of the next couple of days. And the schedule's in Sched. And yeah, I think I don't know if Carla or anyone else wants to say anything, or we just want to thank you all again, and thank you, Sandy,
Sure.
again.
Our next session is coming up at 12:20 p.m. Central Time, so that's 10:20 a.m. Pacific Time. Figure out the other time zones. AI is here as an educator. What should I do? With our presenter, Sarah Hack. Thank you so much,
Okay.
Dr. Hirsch.
Yes, thank
That
you.
was awesome.